Did you know that a simple 1989 D Lincoln Memorial 1-cent coin, the kind you might casually toss into a coin jar or overlook at the bottom of your wallet, has the potential to be worth up to $683, and in some cases even more, because of rare mint errors, extraordinary strike anomalies, and extremely limited high-grade surviving examples that have caused a surge in collector demand, auction interest, and numismatic excitement, and while most people would never think twice about a penny from the late 1980s, the truth is that the 1989 D penny holds an incredible secret beneath its copper-plated zinc surface, a secret that continues to capture the attention of serious coin collectors and sharp-eyed treasure hunters around the world. So if you're holding on to a 1989 D penny or come across one in the wild, you need to know exactly what to look for, because this tiny coin with a humble face value of 1 cent could turn out to be one of the most valuable modern-day cents in circulation. And before we unpack all the mind-blowing reasons why, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more real coin stories that could turn your change into cash, and buckle up because we're about to dive deep into what makes this 1989 D cent so special, so intriguing, and so potentially valuable, starting with the fact that even though over 5 billion of these pennies were minted at the Denver facility, only a very small fraction contain the kinds of errors, strike irregularities, and pristine conditions that elevate their worth from pocket change to big money. And among the most valuable versions of the 1989 D penny are those with dramatic off-center strikes, where the die failed to align correctly and caused Lincoln's profile or the surrounding inscriptions to be visibly shifted or cut off, which instantly makes the coin one of a kind. And even more desirable are examples with double die errors, especially those that impact the motto "I in God we trust," liberty, or the date itself, because when letters or numbers appear to be shadowed, notched, or duplicated under magnification, collectors line up to pay top dollar, particularly when the doubling is strong and the coin remains in high condition. And there are also rare specimens known to exist with repunched mint marks, where the D was struck more than once during production, resulting in clear visual doubling of the letter that can be seen with a simple magnifier and drives value much higher. But the condition of the coin is perhaps one of the biggest factors in its worth, because only a minuscule percentage of 1989 D pennies remain in mint state, MS, condition, and even fewer have received grades of MS 67 or above with a red, RD, designation from professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, which means they still retain their bright, original coppery luster without spotting, toning, or contact marks, and these are the coins that fetch hundreds of dollars at auction, especially when combined with a rare error, unique strike anomaly, or extreme eye appeal. And collectors know that when all of these variables align, flawless condition, rare error, full luster, and historical interest, the result is a coin that far exceeds its face value and becomes a highly prized collectible. And it's not just error coins that carry value either, because even normal 1989 D cents in ultra-high grades are extremely difficult to find due to the nature of the copper-plated zinc composition that was introduced in the 1980s, which is prone to corrosion, blistering, and other surface issues that make preserving these coins in pristine form nearly impossible without intentional care from the moment they leave the mint. So when a coin is discovered decades later that somehow avoided the perils of oxidation, chemical reaction, and circulation damage, it becomes a standout example worthy of attention and high bids. And that's exactly why this coin has become a favorite among penny roll hunters, estate sale shoppers, and everyday collectors, because its value has nothing to do with precious metal content and everything to do with error rarity, physical integrity, and a deepening awareness in the collecting community that even post-1982 cents can be worth big money under the right circumstances. And the beauty of the 1989 D story is that it proves you don't have to go back a century to find a valuable penny. You just have to look closely, study the details, and understand what makes a coin rare and desirable in the eyes of collectors, auctioneers, and grading professionals. And part of that value also comes from the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, which was still widely used at the time but has since been replaced, giving these coins additional historical relevance as we continue to shift into newer design eras. And some versions of this coin have even been found with transitional planchet errors, such as being struck on a leftover bronze blank from earlier years, which can be determined by weighing the coin and comparing it to the expected zinc weight of 2.5 grams, because if the coin weighs closer to 3.1 grams, it could be a rare off-metal error that is worth far more than the average $683 estimate. And there are also cases of 1989 D pennies struck on foreign planchets intended for other denominations or countries, which can result in unusual color, thickness, or shape that makes the coin even more collectible, and the market for these coins is red hot right now due to growing social media exposure, viral videos, and a wave of new collectors entering the hobby who are eager to uncover modern-day rarities in their pocket change, which means prices for high-grade and error-filled 1989 D cents are climbing faster than ever. And while it may sound unbelievable, the fact is that coin dealers and graders are seeing more submissions of 1989 D pennies than ever before as people across the country start realizing that modern coins, if rare and well preserved, can carry incredible hidden value, and the key to finding one of these valuable coins lies in patience, research, and knowing exactly what to look for. So next time you see a 1989 D penny, don't ignore it. Check for doubling, check the mint mark, look for alignment issues, weigh it precisely, examine the surfaces under bright light, and never clean the coin because that can drastically reduce its value. And if you suspect you have a valuable specimen, submit it to a trusted grading company to authenticate and encapsulate it for future sale, because as more people wake up to the potential of modern Lincoln cents, demand will only continue to grow and prices will keep trending upward. And remember that even though 1989 may not seem like long ago, in the world of coin collecting, decades of wear, loss, and damage have already thinned the surviving population of quality coins from that year to a trickle, and the few that remain in top form are destined to become legends in the hobby as more collectors race to complete sets or secure investment-grade specimens. And as the story of the 1989 D penny continues to unfold, one thing is clear: it's not just an ordinary coin, but a symbol of how attention to detail, historical awareness, and a little bit of luck can lead to extraordinary discoveries right in your own pocket. So if you enjoyed this breakdown of a coin you may have completely overlooked until today, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more hidden coin treasures, and keep checking your change because the next big money penny might be just 1 cent away from changing your life. Next, 1997 Lincoln penny. Today we're shining a light on the astonishing story behind the 1997 1-cent coin, a modern Lincoln Memorial penny that most people might overlook as just another piece of copper-colored change. But for a handful of lucky collectors and sharp-eyed hobbyists, this very coin has transformed from pocket lint into a small fortune, with some rare and error-filled examples fetching jaw-dropping prices as high as $650. Or even more in specific conditions. And what makes this coin so intriguing is not just its age or design, but the incredible variety of mint errors, production flaws, and oddities that occurred during its striking at the United States Mint, which have turned what should be a common and nearly worthless modern coin into a sought-after collectible worth hundreds. And as we explore this unexpected treasure, you'll understand the exact factors that elevate a coin like the 1997 Lincoln penny into the realm of serious numismatic value, beginning with the environment at the mint. During the late 1990s, a time when the U.S. Mint was striking billions of coins per year to meet commercial demand, relying on high-speed machinery and vast quantities of planchets to churn out endless stacks of coins, and with this kind of industrial scale and volume, it becomes statistically inevitable that a percentage of coins will be struck with imperfections, anomalies, and outright mistakes, and for collectors, these are not disappointments but discoveries, unique artifacts of the minting process that tell a story and command a premium. And in the case of the 1997 1-cent coin, a number of highly collectible errors have been documented that dramatically increase the value of an otherwise ordinary coin, starting with double die obverse and reverses where parts of the design appear to be duplicated due to a misalignment between the die and hub during preparation, resulting in visible doubling on areas like the date, the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," or even the reverse inscriptions like United States of America or E pluribus unum, and depending on the sharpness and location of the doubling, these coins can command prices ranging from $25 to several $100s, especially when verified by major grading and attribution services like PCGS, NGC, or Annex. And another highly valuable variety includes off-center strikes where the coin was not properly seated in the striking chamber, leading to part of the design being missing or shifted to the edge, with values increasing based on how far off-center the strike is, particularly when the date remains visible and identifiable, which is key for collectors seeking errors with both strong visual appeal and traceable historical context. And then there are broad strike errors where the retaining collar fails to enclose the coin properly, resulting in a wider, flatter, and slightly misshapen coin that still retains the full design, creating a distinct and collectible look that stands out from the crowd. And planchet errors also play a major role in the rising value of 1997 pennies, including coins struck on improper metal blanks such as dime planchets or foreign coin planchets, which can lead to underweight coins, strange colors, unusual ring tones, and visual cues that something is off. And these types of errors can make a coin instantly appealing to error collectors who know how rare these situations are, since the wrong planchet must have entered the wrong minting line and survived quality control before making it into circulation. And then we come to struck-through errors, where foreign material like grease, thread, or debris gets between the die and planchet during striking, leaving behind ghost-like impressions or voids in the coin surface that sometimes result in completely missing design elements or partial fades that give each struck-through error a unique fingerprint. And even more exciting are die breaks and die chips where pieces of the die itself have fractured or worn away, leading to raised metal blobs and extra features that were never intended to exist, such as what collectors affectionately call BIE, errors where a die chip appears between the letters B and E in Liberty, creating what looks like an additional character. And while these minor die chip errors may only bring modest premiums individually, a well-placed or dramatically large chip on a 1997 penny could easily boost its value and appeal, particularly if paired with other issues like doubling or planchet defects. And there have even been reports of 1997 pennies struck on experimental planchets or showing transitional traits, where minor changes in die design or metal composition between production years can result in subtle variations that drive up interest. And savvy collectors who understand die states, hub changes, and striking pressure nuances will pay top dollar for these anomalies when backed by certification. And the 1997 penny is also interesting because it bridges the gap between the earlier bronze and copper-plated zinc compositions, and although by 1997 all Lincoln cents were officially being struck on zinc planchets with a thin copper plating, strange occurrences like incomplete plating, exposed zinc cores, and plating blisters are not uncommon, and these flaws can lead to spotting, bubbling, or even peeling of the outer copper layer, all of which are dramatic visual cues that something is wrong with the coin, and all of which are valued among collectors of modern mint errors. And when you consider the growing popularity of YouTube channels, TikTok accounts, Instagram Reels, and Facebook groups focused on rare coins and currency, it's no surprise that demand for high-quality and rare 1997 era pennies is on the rise, as thousands of new hobbyists and potential buyers flood the market daily in search of their own hidden gems. And as more people become aware of the specific traits that make a coin valuable, like full steps, full strikes, high grades, and dramatic errors. The premium on verified and graded error pennies continues to grow, pushing formerly overlooked coins like the 1997 1-cent piece into the spotlight. And it's not just high-profile errors that bring value either, because even lesser-known or borderline error types like die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet and transfer parts of their design onto each other, or coins struck with tilted or rotated dies that misalign the design between sides, can fetch prices of $50 to $200 depending on their clarity and visual appeal. And when these types of errors appear on modern dates, like 1997, they become even more collectible due to the general rarity of dramatic mistakes in the era of improved minting technology and tighter quality control. And yet, no system is perfect, which is why error coins continue to appear, sometimes discovered only after decades in circulation, hiding in change jars, penny rolls, old piggy banks, or inherited coin collections waiting to be found by someone who knows what to look for. And with a rising number of collectors seeking to complete date sets, variety sets, or error collections, even a small error on a modern penny like 1997 can make it an essential addition to someone's portfolio. And if that coin also grades highly in terms of condition, with minimal wear, strong luster, and a bold strike, it becomes even more valuable, since high-grade examples of modern errors are exceedingly hard to find due to how quickly and harshly coins enter circulation. And it's worth noting that $650 is not a fixed ceiling for the 1997 penny's value, but merely a reflection of what certain error examples have already sold for in past sales and auctions, meaning that if another, even more dramatic or previously unknown error were to be discovered, say, a full double strike with visible duplication, a fully unplated zinc core penny, or a unique planchet mismatch, it could easily fetch far more, especially if authenticated and presented through a major auction house. And as long as collectors continue to hunt, research, and invest in numismatic treasures, the demand for rare and unusual 1997 pennies will persist, and values will continue to climb. So whether you're a dedicated coin enthusiast or just curious about what that odd-looking penny in your wallet might be worth, now is the time to look closely, study carefully, and consider sending your finds for professional evaluation, because the next big discovery might be sitting in your palm right now. Next, 1995 D. Lincoln penny. Have you ever checked the date on a simple 1-cent coin in your pocket and realized it might secretly be worth way more than a single penny? Imagine unknowingly spending a 1995 D. Lincoln cent at a gas station or grocery store that could actually be worth up to $23 or even more depending on a variety of factors that coin collectors and numismatists obsess over. This isn't a fantasy. It's a real-world scenario that's happened countless times. And the humble 1995 D penny minted in Denver may look like just another piece of spare change to most. But to trained eyes and coin enthusiasts, it represents an overlooked yet extremely important entry in the long lineage of Lincoln cents, especially when you start to factor in its unique die varieties, doubling errors, condition grades, and how these seemingly small details can make a massive difference in the overall value of the coin. And while some may scoff at the idea of a modern coin fetching more than face value, the truth is that the world of coin collecting has evolved dramatically, and the demand for pristine, error-filled, or even oddly struck coins has surged thanks to growing awareness through social media, YouTube coin channels, TikTok shorts, numismatic forums, and high-profile auction results that elevate ordinary coins into superstar collectibles overnight. And in the case of the 1995 D penny, its value trajectory began with a widespread interest in doubled die varieties, which first exploded in public consciousness due to its Philadelphia counterpart, the famous 1995 doubled die obverse penny, which displays strong doubling on Liberty and I in God We Trust, And although the Denver minted coins didn't receive the same immediate recognition, years of collecting, cataloging, and deep dive analysis have revealed that the 1995 D penny also possesses its own suite of collectible traits, from minor die clashes and die cracks to off-center strikes, cuts, and repunched mint marks, all of which contribute to boosting a coin's desirability and market value. And many collectors are now revisiting the Denver minted 1995 pennies, hunting through bags, jars, rolls, and forgotten containers in the hopes of identifying a coin with one or more of these anomalies, especially when paired with excellent eye appeal, original red coloration, sharp strike, and no signs of damage, because a 1995 D penny in uncirculated condition can be a hot commodity among Lincoln set registry set builders who want the best possible examples to fill their collections. And with services like PCGS and NGC grading thousands of these coins and assigning values based on condition and rarity, a coin that once sat ignored for decades in a drawer could suddenly skyrocket in value due to an MS-67 grade or discovery of a previously unrecorded die variety. And while $23 might not sound like life-changing money, the key is in quantity and repeatability. Many collectors find dozens of these coins while roll hunting or searching old hoards. And those coins add up quickly, especially when sold in lots to bulk buyers or offered as single pieces to collectors trying to build perfect mint-year sets. And beyond that, the popularity of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series has never waned, particularly among beginners who are drawn to the series' accessibility and the allure of discovering that one elusive coin that most people overlook. And the 1995 D penny is a perfect example of this hidden in plain sight appeal, offering the potential for both valuable errors and condition-based premiums all wrapped up in a piece of copper-plated zinc that barely weighs more than a gram, but can hold value that far exceeds its tiny form. And collectors especially prize coins with strong luster, clean fields, and minimal contact marks. And a 1995 D in gem condition with a known error or distinct eye appeal can be the jewel of a Lincoln set collection, or even the subject of viral attention when showcased on coin-focused social media platforms. And then there's the investment angle. Many smart investors are moving into rare coins as tangible assets that offer protection against inflation and economic uncertainty. And coins like the 1995 D penny with proven market activity and rising awareness provide entry points for new investors who want affordable but promising pieces to add to their holdings. And the emotional component cannot be ignored either. Many collectors associate the Lincoln set with childhood memories, moments with grandparents, or the first time they ever saved money. And the 1995 D penny represents a bridge between generations and a gateway to deeper exploration of American coinage. And as awareness spreads, prices continue to rise, and stories surface of people cashing in on their collections, it becomes increasingly clear that no coin should be ignored, not even one from the mid-90s. And that's why now more than ever it's important to check your change, examine your penny jars, and educate yourself about which coins to look for and how to identify the ones that stand out, because you might just be holding one of the thousands of valuable 1995 D Lincoln cents hiding in plain sight. And many have already discovered coins worth $20, $50, or even hundreds of dollars thanks to a few scratches on the die, misplaced mint marks, or subtle doubling effects that are only visible with a loupe or under magnification. And that's what makes this hobby so addictive and rewarding. You never know what you'll find next. And one person's common coin could be another's key discovery. So don't underestimate the 1995 D penny just because it's newer than those classic wheat cents or wartime issues, because it holds its own place in numismatic history and continues to surprise those who are willing to look closely and learn. And with a modest face value of 1 cent, it's a small but powerful reminder that hidden treasures still exist, even in the most ordinary places. So if you want to hear more stories about valuable coins, uncover hidden gems in your own pocket change, and keep up with the latest trends in the coin collecting World, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more exciting finds and insights that might just help you turn spare change into big money, starting with a simple 1995 D penny. Last 1986 Lincoln penny. Today's featured star in the realm of unexpected value is the 1986 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary Lincoln cent that was minted by the millions, passed from hand to hand in everyday transactions, and generally regarded as a basic piece of copper-plated zinc with little to no numismatic significance. Yet some extraordinary error specimens from this very year have managed to stun collectors and spark fierce bidding wars, with certain examples reaching a surprising price of $346 or even more. Not because they contain precious metals or are extremely rare in quantity, but because of the incredible and sometimes bizarre minting mistakes that occurred during production. And it's precisely these fascinating errors, striking imperfections, and combinations of mechanical and human mishaps that make certain 1986 1-cent coins worth far more than their face value. So if you've ever thought a penny isn't worth keeping or checking closely, you're about to see just how wrong that assumption can be, especially when the right errors are involved and the coin is in excellent condition, because in the world of numismatics, it's not always about age or precious metal content. Sometimes it's about a story told in copper and zinc through imperfections that escaped the mint's strict quality control and found their way into circulation, giving everyday people a rare opportunity to discover real value in the simplest of places. And the 1986 Lincoln cent is a perfect example of this phenomenon, minted during an era when the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned to zinc cores with a thin copper plating, a shift that brought with it new kinds of minting challenges, vulnerabilities, and opportunities for striking errors not commonly seen in earlier bronze compositions. And when you look at the errors and die varieties known for the 1986 penny, a fascinating world opens up, starting with one of the most widely recognized and desirable error types, off-center strikes, which occur when the coin blank, known as a planchet, is not properly aligned with the dies during the striking process, resulting in coins that appear partially missing on one side while revealing a crescent of blank planchet. And the degree of the off-center strike directly impacts value, with 5 to 10% off-center often catching some attention. But when it goes beyond 40 or 50% off-center and still displays the full date and mint mark, the value increases dramatically, especially if it remains in mint state condition. And this is precisely where collectors get excited, because the 1986 off-center cents that feature full or nearly full visible dates are among the most desirable and often command values in the $100 to $300 range depending on exact positioning and grade, with some notable specimens reaching or exceeding $346, especially when they're housed in tamper-proof holders from professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, which authenticate and assess their condition. But the story doesn't stop with off-center strikes, because another significant error found in 1986 cents is the broad strike error, which occurs when the retaining collar that shapes and constrains the coin during the strike is not properly engaged, allowing the coin to spread out unnaturally, often appearing wider and flatter than normal with no defined rim. And when these are coupled with high grades and minimal wear, they become extremely collectible and increase significantly in value, particularly when the broad strike is strong and centered with legible details. And then we get into the exciting realm of double strikes, where the coin is struck once and then, due to a mechanical or timing error, struck a second time either in the same position or slightly misaligned, producing a dramatic doubled appearance that may affect parts of Lincoln's profile, the date, lettering, or even the reverse side, with a Lincoln memorial, and depending on how pronounced and visually dramatic this double strike is, values can escalate into the hundreds of dollars, with certain specimens confirmed and certified by major grading companies reaching or exceeding $346 in competitive sales and auctions, and some of the rarest and most exciting errors for 1986 1-cent coins involve die caps. A particularly striking type of error where a coin becomes lodged on the hammer die and continues to strike blank planchets repeatedly, creating a dramatic mushroomed, bottle cap-like effect that transforms the coin into a fascinating three-dimensional anomaly. And while these are extremely rare when discovered, especially in uncirculated condition, they are guaranteed to fetch several $100s if not more. And this leads us to another fan favorite, struck-through errors, which occur when a foreign object or debris, such as grease, cloth, or even wire, comes between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving a permanent impression of that material on the coin surface. And these errors vary greatly in size and shape, but dramatic struck-through errors on 1986 cents, especially those that obscure design elements like Lincoln's face or the building details on the reverse, tend to draw significant interest from error collectors and regularly achieve prices in the upper hundreds when dramatic and certified. And it's not just mechanical errors that make 1986 cents valuable. There are also important die varieties and anomalies such as die cracks, die chips, and retained die breaks that create raised lines or blobs of metal on the surface of the coin, often appearing on Lincoln's head, the lettering, or on the columns of the Lincoln Memorial, and some of these have been cataloged and followed by error variety collectors, particularly when the errors are large or uniquely positioned, with several examples commanding high premiums, especially when combined with strong eye appeal and mint state condition. And let's not forget about transitional planchet errors, which, while extremely rare for this date, could hypothetically occur if a leftover planchet from another denomination or composition was struck with the cent dies, creating an off-metal strike. And while none are widely documented for 1986 cents as of now, the possibility always excites collectors and motivates many to weigh and test any suspiciously heavy or light 1986 pennies, just in case they are the first to uncover a previously unknown variety. And now we must talk about condition, because condition is king in numismatics, and the difference between a circulated error coin and a mint state error coin can easily double or triple its value. And in the case of a 1986 penny, errors that might sell for $75 to $100 in lower grades can fetch $300 to $500 in MS65 or MS66 condition with bright red luster and sharp detail. And this is why collectors and sellers alike send their error coins to grading companies for authentication and encapsulation, because a coin with a PCGS or NGC label instantly gains credibility and market value, especially when the error is listed on the label as a confirmed off-center strike, double strike, die cap, or struck through. And among 1986 cents, there are numerous high-grade error examples already certified and traded publicly with verified sales around the $300 to $350 range. And more continue to surface as collectors examine old rolls, coin hoards, and inherited collections. And perhaps one of the most intriguing aspects of the 1986 cent is the possibility of combinations, coins that have more than one error at once, like a double-struck, off-center, struck-through coin with a die crack or a misaligned die strike that also shows a partial brockage. And these multi-error coins are especially rare and can be true showpieces, drawing major attention from collectors of exotic mint mistakes, often reaching or exceeding $346 in private sales, coin shows, and online auctions. And what makes this even more compelling is that the 1986 Lincoln cent is not considered particularly rare in general, with over 4.5 billion minted in Philadelphia and 4.1 billion in Denver, which means that the vast majority of these coins are worth face value and remain entirely common. But that's also what makes the error coins stand out even more. They are the needles in the haystack, the rare deviations from mass-produced uniformity, the accidents that escape detection and have now become numismatic legends in their own right. And for collectors, it's this blend of accessibility and possibility that makes searching 1986 cents so rewarding. Next, 1987 Lincoln penny. Today we're exposing the unbelievable truth behind the 1987 Lincoln Memorial Cent, a modern-looking copper-plated zinc coin that could be hiding errors and mistakes so significant that its value jumps from 1 cent to $50 or more depending on the condition, rarity, and visibility of the error. And what makes this coin so deceptive is that it's part of a modern era that most collectors dismiss as too recent to contain valuable errors. Yet it is precisely this assumption that causes so many people to miss out on big money lurking within their everyday change. So in this detailed and uninterrupted breakdown, we're going to uncover every single detail about the production of the 1987 1-cent coin, explore the minting process flaws, the anomalies in the materials and die preparations, and all the unique and rare varieties that turn this simple-looking cent into a collector's item sought after by error coin enthusiasts, auction hunters, and even major grading services like PCGS and NGC, all of whom understand the hidden value locked inside this small but fascinating piece of American coinage. And we begin by recognizing that the 1987 cent was struck at a time when the U.S. Mint had already shifted away from solid copper coins to copper-plated zinc, a cost-saving measure implemented in 1982, which led to new challenges in the minting process due to the softness of the zinc core and the delicate nature of the thin copper outer layer, which often failed to bond properly, resulting in a high number of planchet flaws, bonding errors, plating blisters, and lamination issues that now make certain 1987 cents valuable targets for collectors. And when these flaws align with other anomalies such as off-center strikes, double dies, die breaks, die chips, and misaligned dies, the value of the coin rises dramatically. And this is why even a coin that was minted in the hundreds of millions, like the 1987 cent, can be worth $50 or more when specific errors are present. And to appreciate this fully, let's first dive into the types of errors that are most commonly found on 1987 1-cent coins, starting with one of the most widespread yet misunderstood issues: plating bubbles and blisters, which occur when the thin copper plating fails to fully adhere to the zinc core, or when trapped gases during the heating and bonding process create small raised areas on the coin surface, typically visible on Lincoln's shoulder, cheek, or around the date. And while minor bubbles may not command a premium, larger and more numerous bubbles, especially if they distort the design or lettering, are highly desirable and have fetched prices up to and beyond $50 depending on severity and visibility. And these are often listed in error coin databases and enthusiast forums where specialists document extreme examples of plating flaws. And when these bubbles combine with other issues, like a struck-through error, where a piece of debris, thread, or grease becomes lodged between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving behind a sunken or irregular impression, the coin becomes even more valuable, particularly if the object leaves a distinct shape or disrupts the lettering or Lincoln's portrait. And then there are off-center strikes, one of the easiest errors to spot with the naked eye, where the coin's design is shifted from the center, leaving blank areas and misaligned features. And while minor off-centers of 5% to 10% are common and not especially valuable, more dramatic off-center strikes where 30% to 50% of the design is missing yet the date remains fully visible are far rarer and can easily push the value of a 1987 cent into the $50 range or higher. And collectors especially love these dramatic-looking coins because they provide instant visual evidence of minting flaws and make excellent conversation pieces or centerpieces in error coin collections. And it doesn't stop there, because another popular and value-enhancing error is the die crack or die break, which occurs when the die used to strike the coin begins to wear or fracture, often leaving raised lines across the surface of the coin. And in 1987 cents, some of these cracks appear near Lincoln's head, across the date, or running through the reverse lettering such as United States of America or E pluribus unum. And when these cracks are thick, deep, or unusually shaped, they take on nicknames and become desirable in their own right, such as the BIE error, where a die break forms between the B and E in Liberty, making it look like there is an extra letter, and such errors, while minor to some, are heavily collected and when found in uncirculated condition can push the value over $50, especially when certified by a third-party grading company. And let's not forget double dies, though not as common in 1987 as in earlier decades. There are known examples where parts of the design, most notably the date, mint mark, or Liberty, appear doubled due to a misalignment between the hub and the die during manufacturing, and when such doubling is visible to the naked eye or under 10x magnification, the value of the coin rises dramatically, particularly if the doubling affects the prominent features like Lincoln's eye, mouth, or the columns of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. And these coins are often sought by variety specialists who track every known double die by its classification. And once verified by grading services, they become part of the official population reports, which increases their recognition and value, especially when the coin is in high mint state grades like MS64 or MS65. And then there are clipped planchet errors where the blank metal disc used to strike the coin was improperly cut, leaving curved or straight clips that result in coins with a portion visibly missing. And while minor clips are interesting, the most valuable clipped planchets are those that are clean, large, and leave the date and mint mark intact. And when these conditions are met, the coin becomes not only collectible but worth a premium far beyond its face value, sometimes breaching the $50 mark in a strong market. And still more possibilities arise with misaligned die strikes where one die, usually the obverse, is out of alignment, causing the design to be shifted toward one side, and the rim to appear thick or doubled on one side and thin or even cut off on the other. And these misalignments are most valuable when they are extreme and paired with other errors, such as a die crack or struck through grease error, making the coin a multi-error piece that instantly attracts collectors. And we haven't even gotten to some of the stranger errors like retained cuds, where a piece of the die face breaks and is retained during striking, leaving a raised, blob-like feature on the coin. And in the 1987 series, retained cuds can occur near the rim and often distort letters or parts of the design. And when dramatic enough, these can easily be worth $50 or more, especially when found in bright red mint condition. And another area that significantly boosts value is the overall surface color and preservation of the coin, because as collectors know, cents are graded not only on strike and errors, but on color: brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and full red, RD. And a 1987 cent with any of the above errors, but in full red MS65 or MS66 condition, will always sell for more than its brown counterpart. And this is why coins pulled from mint sets or rolls that were stored in controlled environments often sell for much more. And in some cases, it's the combination of error rarity, surface color, and sharpness of detail that pushes the value over the $50 threshold, especially when the coin is certified by a leading third-party grading company, as collectors trust those evaluations when making high-value purchases. And as we consider all these error possibilities, we must also understand how many of them go unnoticed simply because people assume modern pennies are too common to be valuable. But in reality, error coins can be found in any year, and the 1987 cent, with its millions of minted examples, provides the perfect hunting ground for collectors who know what to look for. And that's why rolls of these coins are still being searched today by seasoned numismatists and newcomers alike, hoping to find that one flawed piece that stands out, and when found, authenticated. and preserved, even a modern Lincoln cent can become a trophy coin worth $50 or more, and this underscores one of the most exciting truths about coin collecting, that value doesn't always lie in age or rarity alone.